Look at my fucking shirt. Everybody today. He does rule. Have you read the new book? Are you gonna read the new? I don't give a fuck about Stephen King. It's for Monster Squad.
Yes.
And after seeing this movie, I really don't give a fuck about Stephen King again. I'm gonna say this. I jinxed it. We're doing a spoiler-free review because if you know, for the last 3 months on slashers, we've talked about we were gonna do the 1990 movie, then we were gonna do 2017 and 2019 in a consolidated episode. That is coming. Just a big globulous load in your earlobes. So this is a spoiler-free review. But I will tell you, I looked at Chad and I jinxed the whole fucking movie. I was like, they're gonna do something spectacular to like make me not like this movie. I don't dislike this movie now, but I was like, that ending, it didn't hit me at all.
Yeah, and we did a quick discussion before we even started this about the ending. It's very hard to do with the content that's in the book.
But that is the one thing I liked out of 1,138 pages was the ending. Well, aside from the child sex thing, what I loved, the psychedelic weirdness of it all. Well, like, you've never read, like, weird Marvel comics where you're dealing with the concept of, like, a physical embodiment of eternity and stuff. Like, that is so up my alley. And then for it to be like this, I was like, oh, this is so linear and, like, plebeian.
Nah.
And I'll tell you this. Bill Hader, he was fine. People are talking about, like, him being the Bill Hader show. Like, I love Bill Hader. I've watched all of Barry. We've talked about it. I said it's the best casting. It's fine. And it's not for any lack of him. His character just doesn't do shit.
Yeah, I agree. And that's, I think, the part that we talked about the most, where his character in the book has a very big role.
Yeah.
And that role wasn't there in the movie.
Correct.
Which is not there in the other movie either, but...
100%. And that's the thing. I feel like I'm downtrodden a little bit. I knew as we were watching it, I'd want to watch it again before making a really strong criticism, because is it reactionary? Like, I'm thinking about this as an experience. I'm really glad that we saw it in theaters. For anybody, you know, obviously we have to because we're putting out an episode, but if you're on the fence and you're waffling, I didn't see the first one in theater, the 2017, because I'm a completionist. I want to watch it all in a chunk. So I'm doing that all and getting the second one in. And especially with this one, I think it's really important to be in a venue where you're not going to look at your phone and be distracted, because there's a couple of times where I looked at Chad and I was like, they could trim some of this. Like,
yes, I think so too. There's somewhere in the middle it gets a little bit jumpy, a little bit, where some of the stuff could just be taken out.
Well, yeah, it seems like compulsively jumpy, whereas the intro is jumpy in like a a stylistic way.
Right.
Where like we're getting through a lot of information quickly. The other part I was like, this just feels disjointed. It got so much so that I looked at you and I was like, this is like playing like a horror anthology right now. This isn't playing like a movie.
Yeah, they definitely threw in a lot of scares that were kind of they're in the book, but it was definitely fast paced and kind of weird jumps.
Without getting too much into spoilers, I mean, I thought that it was pretty good as far as like diversifying some of the scares and, you know, just being more thematically true to the book, but then in actuality being a bit different. That was nice to me. I enjoyed that part of it. You know, like I said, I think I'm being a bit of a pouty pants because it's just what I like. This is my one thing that I wanted and I didn't get it. And it's not to say it's all bad, but like, I feel like Bill Hader could have had more like things to do.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is like what I expected the book to be like, that the book surprised me and was better than, if that makes sense in that way. So if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about as far as Richie Tozier. But if you've what you imagine the guy who's fucking Professor X, the like biggest name actor in the movie, to do, like, he's that guy, and that's what you get out of it. That's not too spoilery, right? I mean,
no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think his character definitely should have done more along the same line as the book.
Yeah.
But I feel like the ending of this was much better than the original TV series version.
100%.
So that part I was like, okay, that's still good. And I understand completely why they did not do the book ending, though, because it is so out there. And unless you're a big fan like us and you've seen and read the book, I think you lose a lot of the major audience.
Yeah, I could see for setting up the third installment.
Which is like what they did with the first one. They're like, oh, it's a big spider. And everyone's like, oh, okay.
Well, here's my... So, two things on what you just said. One, I think that we were talking about this. Obviously, the budget and everything is completely different, but the concept, I think, is better in this, even if the production was lower. Just the visual elements, I think, that were more intriguing and more, enhanced. But when it comes to, completely changing the ending to that extent, what frustrates me is I hear what you're saying, and I'm like, they're not setting up a third one. So this is your point to be weird because you have millions of people invested having watched that first one, which is why the budget for this one's bigger than the first one, which is why you've done all this, which is why the viral market.
Plus, they had to buy actual actors, not just kids.
Yeah, and that's like, it's a huge point. Like, people are already invested, and they're invested in this, and so I get like making your own thing because it already worked the first time, but it's like I can only excuse it as a stylistic choice because the visuals that I saw were so involved and heavy that there's nothing you can tell me it couldn't have gone to the psychedelia of the book.
Yeah, but I mean, that's from you who liked it. I didn't like that part of the book because I felt like it was also just a cop-out. He was like, oh, it's so weird, it's undescribable, and that was kind of all it was. And
Little Lovecraftian.
And you're just like, okay, that's fantastic. This book is 40 hours long.
45.
45.
Almost 46.
And you're just like, oh, it's too weird, and you can't even fathom. And you're like, okay, thanks.
Doctor Strange.
Thanks.
Right?
Right.
Doctor Strange, I was like, oh, wow. Don't show me a battle. Show me that you could talk about potentially battling.
Yes.
Correct. A war of attrition.
Right.
I was like, that's what I'm getting out of this?
Right.
So I get that, but it is combat. You know,
it is.
It is dynamic.
And it would be very strange, though, because
And also, I'm not being fair.
Right.
My favorite pictures from the set, and I don't very often look at set pictures because I love movie production, but I want to look at it after I've seen the movie, was Bill Hader, Bill Skarsgård facing each other, and then him running off.
On that.
Yeah. There's a great cameo. Not going to give too much away.
True.
But
I actually like that one.
I thought that was the best thing that this person's ever done. God damn it. Stupid lights. Fucking hell. All right, take that, car. It's telling us to wrap it up. But no, as far as acting, it's the best thing that person's ever done.
Yeah.
Biggest takeaway.
Biggest takeaway. They blended the comedy with the horror, I think, very well. And I think it helped progress the story. Yeah,
I think that the story, like the horror elements, the girl to the left of me looked like she was going to die of fright multiple times. And the comedy, I think, was fine because she laughed as hard as she gasped.
Right.
So that was nice.
I think it keeps people engaged more because it's also a very long movie.
Well, and you need...
and they're one-liners. They're not like great comedy, but it's just like the easing of the tension that kind of helps push.
And also, it resets the tension.
Exactly.
So you can ramp up again and then get it. They did a really good job of the sound mixing and stuff where the build-up changes. Like some things are super loud, some things are not loud, some things are... They do a lot of the scuttling scares, which I appreciate, and that's something that freaks me out because I'm always just like, I'm going to punch everything.
Besides the ending for you, what was the least favorite?
Oh, least favorite?
Yeah. Without being too spoily, I guess.
Bowers.
Okay.
I liked what I thought was going to happen based on the initial image. I was like, oh, that's different. I like that. Oh, it's the exact same. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever.
For me, it was a technical aspect where all the kids have now hit puberty. So they edited their voices to sound higher, and it didn't quite match like their lips. And it was very distracting. For someone like me, I was like, oh, yeah, you really had to edit these voices.
And they're editing their faces.
And their faces, and I was like, you can tell.
You could tell Fat Boy
it's
for
hard.
sure.
Yeah.
Fat Boy did some Weight Watchers, some Jenny Craig, and you could tell they're like puffing those cheeks a little bit.
Yeah, that part was distracting to me.
Yeah. In terms of, is this worth buying on Blu-ray? If you're a completionist, I don't think I'm going to, and this might change in years to come, I don't think I'm going to, I didn't get enough out of the first one and this one to want to commit myself to watching 6 hours worth of movies to get that experience again. Like the fucking Marvel universe, at some point it's cool to own all those because I'll probably work my way up to end. But just sitting down for 6 hours to watch this, I'm like, I liked them, didn't love them. So this is definitely a watch in theaters, maybe Redbox or something, but I don't think this is an owner for me.
Okay. I collect a lot of movies that are...
You do, and I reap the benefits. So.
Right, and this is probably one that I would watch again, but it's not one of those ones that I could just watch over and over like Evil Dead. This is one that, every once and maybe once a year, I'm like, I can watch it.
5 hours of a year?
You've seen the stuff I watch.
Yeah, but I guess in terms of the math, we're talking about 0.0005% of your year, so who gives a fuck?
And a lot of the stuff like this is stuff that I watch while doing other things like editing,
masturbating, murdering people,
yes,
dressing up like a clown,
no,
turning your dick into a balloon animal,
yes.
That's separate and apart from the masturbation, folks. But anyway, stay tuned on Slashers because we are going to have an It 2017-2019 butt fucking bonanza.
Yes.